storm rolling through, and I have received more messages than I could keep up with, looking at the clouds out there, and this is what you're seeing. I think it caught a lot of people off guard. I mean, they're sending me pictures of the storm going, what in the world is this? Well, we have some spring storms headed our way, and you can see here that we're getting kind of this shape to this, that bow shape that we're all familiar with. And let me put this into motion here. Continues on to the east, and there you can see ahead of it, just barely, that outflow boundary. That's part of what has created those cloud formations, is that those winds are starting to make its way ahead of the storm that causes that cloud formation ahead of it. Those wavy clouds that you're seeing are caused by those increased winds. And some of you have noticed that you have a kind of you have a cloud base here, and then it kind of goes up after that. And what you're seeing move forward, partly that's called a shelf cloud, the part of that that's ahead of it. And then up under that, where you see it's real wavy and almost bubbly, we call that inside the whale's mouth, because you have kind of that space before the rain starts where you can see those wavy clouds. So it's not anything to be terrified of. It's not anything scary out there, but it does indicate that we have stronger winds that are moving ahead of this storm. It is not severe at this time, but it is capable of 50-mile-per-hour winds, and also lots of small hail falling from this as well. Plenty of lightning and thunder. It's going to be a noisy storm as it blows east at 55 miles per hour. So a number of storms are moving through right now. And like I say, tons of messages still coming through. So if I don't respond to your message, please be understanding that we have, I think every time I opened one, I got 3 more coming in. So lots and lots of messages coming in about this storm. If anything, go to the page and comment those publicly. That's going to make it a little easier for me to keep up with there. So yeah, hearing that there's plenty of heavy rain and small hail in the Maypearl area there. So there you can see where we have that pink. That's going to be the strongest part of this storm. And again, I'm finding that there's a lot of folks that were caught off guard with this. This was a little earlier than I expected. I thought maybe we would get through the noon hour and get closer to 1, 2 o'clock before we had storms coming in. But this one actually started racing due east when the rest of the activity was moving northeastward. So that moved up our timeline a little bit. But you can see this storm moving into Italy, moving right there, right up to I-35. There's that update. And there you can see that hail core starting to brighten up a little bit. So we're probably increasing those hail sizes a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we're getting closer to nickel-sized hail there. I won't be shocked if this storm is severe warned at this point. It's not severe warned at this time. I have expected it to be, but this one's kind of fluctuating. It's kind of, it'll strengthen and then it'll weaken and it'll strengthen, and we've seen kind of that back and forth before, but this storm is just kind of a preview of things to come. We have a greater severe weather risk tomorrow that I will be watching. All modes of severe weather will be possible here. Today, I think we'll just see marginally severe. This is pretty much probably the most intense of what we will see for the most part today. This is going to continue to push east through the area. So Ennis, Palmer, Ferris, you will see this storm downstream. It's just moving into Waxahachie now. In fact, I'm watching out the window here at the studio to see what it's going to look like when it moves through my area. But the highest probability of hail at this point is going to be right here from Italy to Forreston, really south side of Waxahachie here, down 35, and then that will continue on here between Italy and Ennis, probably bringing some hail to the Avalon and Bardwell area over towards Ennis. So that's the heaviest part of this storm right now, and I continue to get all kinds of text messages and pictures and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, there's going to be winds out ahead of this as well. So keep that in mind. It is a windy, loud, hail-borne storm right now. So it's gonna make quite the impression, but it's not severe at this point. A couple of things I want to show you. One is the winds, and so you can see where you see the red here. That's all moving away from the away from the radar. So I mean, it's moving this direction. That's a clear indication that we do have those stronger winds out ahead of that storm. And then within the storm, you can see in Italy some stronger winds. In fact, I just got a report from a dear friend in Italy that let me know that it is quite windy down there. So we do have wind speeds increasing in that storm. Hail sizes probably will be increasing very soon as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm seeing out the window here at the studio, seeing those wavy clouds. And then again, like I said, when you have the shelf cloud, that's that low cloud that seems to just be riding the air right above you, and then it kind of opens up and you have that space. Like we say, we call that inside the whale's mouth, as you get past that initial shelf cloud up under that space where you have those real wavy kind of bubbly clouds. So really interesting stuff to kind of see out there. And I know it looks wild out there, but this is going to be a windy, hail-borne storm. But it's not something to be too concerned about. Here's going to be your primary area of hail. Like I say, stretching towards Maypearl, probably towards Scarborough Renaissance Festival, out that way, out 876 and 66, stretching down along 35 from Forreston to Italy. That's going to be where you have the greatest probability of hail. All of the hail that I have seen reported to us has been pretty small hail, so pea to maybe dime-sized hail. I think this storm, the special weather statement, which is the blue box you're seeing here. No red boxes today, please. Let's go maybe without those. That continues to move eastward here as, again, this is not a severe storm at this point. I know the title of this is severe weather coverage. Frankly, I expected a severe thunderstorm warning really at any moment, and then the storm kind of decided to subside ever so briefly. Okay, here's the winds here at the Weather Center. So that's what we're seeing right now. It's starting to pick up. So we're getting the kind of the leading edge of this. Here's that update. So you can see that. Why does it have to be an eye? Why does that have to be creepy? You know it's something when a storm decides it's just going to show off and be really creepy. It's like we're like Lord of the Rings here or something. My Lord, you can see here, this is, by the way, weather terminology. This is not what we refer to as an eye. That's something different. But this storm has decided that it's going to be, it's almost like a little snake eye there. This storm is a lot more bark than bite at this point. It's going to look a lot more intense than it is, but as I say that, we are looking at an increasing hail threat there. So that hail core is intensifying at this time. So that means that our hail sizes will likely get larger. So as we get onto the east side of I-35E here, we could be looking at some larger hail from the Nash-Howard area over towards, again, Abilene, Bardwell, kind of that area along 55, or along, 55 there, and then Highway 34 between Italy and Ennis. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. And this is what we're talking about. You can kind of see this little black area. That's where your larger hail is going to be. Here's Italy. Here's Bardwell. Abilene's going to be right kind of in this area where that hail is moving through. So it's a quick storm. I mean, you can see the rest of our area here. If we kind of expand this and kind of take a broader look, here's that storm we're watching. And then back to the west, more storms, not as intense here, moving into Hood and Somervell counties from Erath. So this is going to be our trend over the next, unfortunately, 36 hours or so. We have a flood watch that goes into effect tomorrow morning, continues on through early Wednesday morning, 1 a.m. Wednesday morning. And this will be our trend, but tomorrow is going to be a higher severe weather risk. So tomorrow I will be on a little bit more high alert. And I've already had to move some things around tomorrow. Unfortunately, right now, we are stuck in what's called an omega block. And if I show you just briefly here, and I can almost guarantee you that we'll have a severe thunderstorm warning issued while I'm doing this, because they love to, the second I look away, they love to get crazy. But what I want to show you here, and this is just a little bit of me geeking out on meteorology, we have a pattern called an omega block. There's one low pressure system here, and then there's one over the four corners, and we're kind of stuck in between, but this system is going to kind of hang out and send storm after storm after storm. We could have storms through the end of the week here. The good news is Mother's Day looks fine. You have a nice weekend on tap, but I mean, it's Monday. We could see 5 days of storm chances because we're stuck in this pattern here. So we'll get back to our area here and kind of get focused in on this storm, which is increasing in intensity. It is picking up steam here. Like I say, it's moving very quickly, 50 to 55 miles per hour due east. So I do expect to have some small hail in this storm. We could be getting closer to severe hail territory, but as it gets into Bardwell, Ennis area here over the next half hour or so, the good news is I'm not seeing any kind of rotation with this. I'm not really concerned about a tornado threat at this point, but we do have some gusty winds and some small hail, at least as far as what we've had reported to this point, small hail. But again, it does look like that hail size could be increasing as it moves on eastward. Rhonda Tesh, I completely understand. She said, my grass is so tall. Trust me, I get it. It seems like every time I have actual time to mow, there's rain on the way. So it's just, it's going to be kind of a tough call of when I finally am able to really it's my backyard for the most part. Front yard's fine. Backyard needs some help back there. But, I get a brief chance to mow the yard. The front gets done, the back just doesn't seem to want to cooperate with me. So again, you can see the black is gone. We keep seeing this storm kind of go back and forth. It keeps getting right to that severe level, and then it will cool down ever so slightly. So it's going to continue on. So the when will the second line come through from Stephenville area? Ritchie, Bowling, looks like that's going to be moving in to, I mean, it depends on where you are. I'm not sure where you are relative to that timeline. That's going to be moving into western Johnson County here in the next 30 to 45 minutes. I don't have a speed on that yet. Still focused on the more intense storm that is moving through our area. You can also notice kind of this tight gradient. So moving into frost right now, Blooming Grove is next, Bardwell's next there. I mean, this thing is going to be there quick, but it's going to be out of there quick as well. It's going to be off and on thunderstorms today. It's going to be, you get this storm through, then you get a break, then you have more storms coming in. We should see a break overnight tonight, and then tomorrow, more storms come in. Could be looking at more severe storms tomorrow afternoon. Let's kind of broaden this out just a little bit here. And yeah, starting to hear the thunder here at the studio. And you can see, again, there's more showers kind of popping up here. Not every storm is going to be like this one. Not every storm is going to be this intense, but they are making their way eastward. Hearing a report of small hail in Midlothian. So we're even getting smaller hail outside of that hail core here. And that definitely I would expect to be some of that more small, pea-sized hail going on. And then just more development here. And obviously we talked about that line back to the west moving into Hood and Somervell counties. None of that is as severe at this point. None of that is as intense. But this part of the storm in southern Ellis County moving towards Bardwell and Ennis right now, that is going to definitely be the most intense that we will see. The southern part of this storm moving into Navarro County right now, that will continue to move on to the east. So I would say from Blooming Grove on towards Corsicana on to Kearns, you're probably going to be looking at those storms threatening that area. But that doesn't look quite as intense right now as the part of this that will be in southern Ellis County. If you're in Alma, Rice, Ennis, that area, you will see this moving through here in the next 30 minutes or so. I mean, it's moving, again, very, very quickly, 55 miles per hour. That's a pretty good race for one of these storms that is moving eastward. And light rain at Baylor, Scott, and White. You can see from BHV, I'm not sure what that is referring to, using some abbreviations there. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but yeah, northern Waxahachie starting to get this too. And yeah, I'm not too far from there looking out my window. We're starting to get the rain and the lightning and everything as well. So hopefully that doesn't mess with the power. It'd be nice if that would, not happen. We've been pretty fortunate this spring, so I think we're probably overdue for a little power issue, but we'll see what happens. But the primary focus right now does have to be that storm that is Baylor Heart and Vascular. Okay, I see. Got it. Okay. And talking hospitals, I'm sure there's probably at least heavy rain and that kind of thing falling at Methodist Midlothian as well. So just to kind of give you some comparison there. And yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of comments about the clouds out there. And yeah, the thing is that some of these storms that are not severe will produce very, very scary clouds out there. We refer to those affectionately as SLCs, scary looking clouds. So much more bark than bite. I mean, they look like the end of the world is coming. But the good news is that this is a fairly docile storm, especially compared to what we often see in the spring. So we're in a pretty good spot for the moment. So you can see the winds here. That's what we're looking at initially. Is we do have some gusty winds here, but I don't see anything that would approach severe weather limits. Here's that update, and I'm just not seeing anything that is too terribly intense. You will have some gusty winds as this moves through here, but looking at the vertically integrated liquid, you see the gray is gone, so that means that that hail core continues to be on a more tame, in a more tame state, but that doesn't mean we can't still have some small hail falling out of this storm. Again, I would say penny-sized hail is possible, closer to dime or pea-sized hail probably more likely as this moves on to the east. I'm just looking at some of the comments there. Yeah, lots of comments about the winds that are picking up, and as well as just the clouds out there. Pea-sized hail near Scarborough Renaissance Festival right now, and the pea-sized hail near Avalon and Forreston. So yeah, I mean I'm hearing consistently pea-sized hail. Now, just keep in mind the way that we judge that for future reference is we look at the largest hailstone that you find, and so that's going to determine whether you have a severe thunderstorm warning, that kind of thing. And so if we have quarter-size hail observed, even if not all the hailstones are quarter-size, if we find one quarter-size hail, that is considered a severe storm because it is capable of producing that hail size. Doesn't have to be all of them, but that is kind of the way that is judged. But for now, mostly pea-sized hail that people are reporting out there. So not quite what we saw back on March 8th. Fortunately, we're not seeing the very strong winds that are driving that hail nearly sideways, turning that into buckshot. So that's the good news. The other good news, like I say, is that it's moving fairly quickly, so I'm not really that concerned about flooding from this one either. But you probably saw me post earlier that there is a flood watch that goes into effect, at least for parts of our area. I believe Ellis and Navarro counties are included in that at this time. The good news is that it will probably not be a flash flood situation, I don't think. It'll be off and on rain, but it largely depends on whether you get more kind of persistent downpours, right? So just one, persistent and repetitive, one after another. Also depends on if you're in a flood-prone area, but that's tomorrow. Today, more kind of widely scattered storms, I think. It will be off and on, and so I don't think we'll have too much to worry about in terms of flooding today, especially with these things moving in and out so quickly. So you're not getting a downpour that's just sitting there on top of you causing all those flood problems. And Bravo on YouTube, yeah, a little too cool for anything too intense. That's part of it, is that, yeah, we're not quite in the afternoon hours, and that's going to be something that I'll be watching tomorrow as well. If we can get more showers and thunderstorms in before the severe weather starts, before we start warming up for the day, so really the severe weather threat is going to start kind of late morning, early afternoon period. And if we can get more rain-cooled air through that time, part of it will be a warm front moving north. But hey, if we can keep the storms going, that might help to prevent the atmosphere from destabilizing too terribly much. But we're going to have to watch that tomorrow. Today, just a marginal risk of severe weather. I think this is probably characteristic of what we will see most during the day today. Not expecting widespread severe weather or anything like that. Definitely not expecting much of a tornado threat at this point. Of course, I say that, and all heck's going to break loose. But we'll see what this does, this storm and the later storms that we have across our area. But the tornado threat looks to be focused west of our area, and when I say that, I mean West Texas, Panhandle, and the like out in that area. This is a broader view. So here's the storm that we've been watching. This is the one that produced all the clouds that we've been seeing. You can see that other little line off to the west. This one's not quite as intense. And then lots of little spotty showers and thunderstorms across the area. That's going to be our day today. I don't expect a major severe weather event, but I do think that we will from time to time see storms, and could be some loud ones out there. This one's definitely a noisemaker. I think we could see more of those. So if you're outdoors, you definitely need to be paying attention to the lightning and that kind of thing. But aside from that, for the most part here, the biggest concern is going to be gusty winds and small hail at this point. I don't think we see the larger hail sizes tomorrow. Well, that could be a different story here. Tomorrow, I'll tell you too, the tornado threat for tomorrow really looks along 35 east and east of there, and then south of I-20. So really from Waxahachie, Hillsboro eastward, and then south of the Metroplex. So that does include part of our area. That may change over the next 24 hours, but I will be continuing to keep an eye on that, bring updates as we go forward. As we get closer, the Storm Prediction Center may issue an enhanced risk at some point, just a slight risk at this time, but they will continue to update that. And I love how people will say, well, they're trying to catch up to, well, forecast certainty increases as you get closer. I mean, that just makes sense. So just because you feel like it should be a greater tornado threat, and then the Storm Prediction Center does it later, doesn't mean that you're right and they're wrong. Just means they're not going to say so until they're more certain. So you have to understand message strategy is like 80% of this job. And a lot of people don't really get that because they're just kind of saying whatever works on social media. But I'll tell you, at this point, there is a tornado threat for tomorrow. It's a generally low threat, but it's there. We've seen plenty of low tornado threats that end up producing. So we just have to kind of pay attention to that. More reports of small hail in Waxahachie there as kind of that northern side of that storm moves through. We'll zoom back in on that. And yeah, we're seeing a little bit of pink there, so we could see other parts of the line start to intensify, but the hail threat looks to be at least subsiding a little bit as it moves into Ennis. It's still plenty of potential for plenty of small hail in that area, but I don't think we're quite going to see the large hail that we might otherwise see. Now, I'm getting a ton of messages. My word, I don't know if I'm going to get through all of these today. Lots of great pictures of those clouds coming through. Graham, a message that you sent in is, there's, let's see, what settings do you use in Radar Omega? I may have to reply to that personally with that much detail, but something to know about Radar Omega, it's very customizable. So if yours doesn't look like mine, there could be a laundry list of reasons why. There's no, oh, hey, change this one thing. It could be a number of things that could change that. Plenty of heavy rain here at the studio right now. We're right here in this area, so we're getting plenty of heavy rain. I'm not seeing any kind of hail yet, but could very well here in the next few minutes. I know folks at Hope Health who are probably eating tacos right now are seeing this out of those nice big break room windows and of course throughout other parts of the clinic there. So yeah, continuing to move on east. The good news is, again, this storm is not severe at this time, but if you're out in Waxahachie, this thing's going to look really intense. And, that's the thing is people look at these things and it's just mortifying. But the good news is, again, not a severe storm. I'm not seeing damaging severe weather at this point. It's going to blow some things around. It's going to have some small hail. It's going to make some noise. But if you're looking at this out your office window or your window at home or wherever you are and you're seeing this thing and going, my word, that looks terrifying. A lot more bark than bite from this particular storm. It's pretty impressive out there. The clouds that it produced, out ahead of that outflow boundary were, they're just incredible. Just a beautiful structure from this storm. And sometimes that structure does mean severe weather. At this point, though, it just means that there was rapid evolution with this storm. That's part of the reason we saw the clouds look so impressive, is that we were seeing a rapid increase in wind speeds. So you're going to see that reflected in those cloud formations. So looks really cool, but the good news is, looks really terrifying too. The good news is it's not near as bad as it appears out in that area. So parts of Navarro County right now, again, like I mentioned, really between Ennis and Corsicana. So right there in Rice and Alma, that's where that higher hail threat is moving at this point. So right there along I-45. It's going to be plenty of heavy rain, lightning and thunder, and some small hail coming down. Now, with that hail coming down and you're driving 65 miles per hour down I-45, I say that, I know y'all are probably driving a lot more than that, but hopefully in the storm you're slowing down a little bit. But it's going to feel like that hail is just going to destroy that car. The good news is it's smaller hail. Don't think we're going to see anything breaking windows today. Yeah, so small hail in the Indian Hills neighborhood. So it sounds like the hail core is just south of me, at least the smaller one here in the Waxahachie area. Because I'm not seeing hail yet, but it's just to the south of me in the Indian Hills neighborhood here. So plenty of heavy rain. We're almost up to 1/10 of an inch of rain here just since this started. So impressive rain rates, but again, as quickly as it's moving, I'm not expecting any flood issues with this storm. Through the rest of the day, though, if you happen to get just these continuous repetitive downpours, which doesn't seem as likely because this is more spotty activity here. That storm near Granbury definitely doesn't look near as intense as this, but just be prepared for off and on storms. Don't be surprised if you go into the store, pick up a few things, by the time you're coming out, there's a downpour going on. It won't last very long. So just be aware of that. Be aware that today, just off and on storms, it's going to be an all-day deal. We should get a break overnight tonight, and then as we get into the morning hours tomorrow, we'll start to see storms increase in coverage again. And as we warm up tomorrow, severe weather will be possible. And I will be trying to pay attention more to how that severe weather threat may evolve. It started looking like maybe those storms were trending a little later, which the later they go, the more focused on daytime heating they will be, the more intense they could be. So all of that matters. All of that is a factor there. Michelle Burleson saying that lots of hail at Bardwell Lake right now. So that is, yeah, so winds picking up in Ennis as well. So that storm has definitely arrived at Lake Bardwell in the Ennis area, especially southern parts of Ennis there towards Emhouse, Rice, and Alma. That's where you're going to have the most prevalent hail, the largest hail. And I'm already seeing things lighten up here at the studio. That's how quickly this thing is moving. By the time it really sets in and you kind of get those most intense conditions, I mean, it's moving through very, very fast. And it looks like it's even getting thinner up to the north. So just a very quick presence from that storm. By the time you know it's there, it's almost gone. So it's moving right across 45 right now and will continue to race on eastward. And then through the day, just more showers and thunderstorms moving through our area. You can see down here near Dawson, another little storm. Looks like that could be picking up. That could have some small hail with it pretty soon. But this is, I think, the most organized we see out there at this moment. The rest of it, much more spotty activity. So if you're out and about today, just be ready for off and on showers. You may, I've literally been in a situation before where I drove into a little downpour and it literally lasted about 15 seconds. I drove through it and it was moving this way and I drove, driving that way, and it just poured down rain like crazy for about 15 seconds, then it was over. It's just, crazy sometimes how this stuff goes when you have these little bitty showers like these down in Hill County, just kind of, popping through. Yeah, lots of reports of the winds picking up in the small hail in the Ennis area. So what you're going to notice is the big scary clouds make a big introduction. The storm blows through. It rains like crazy for a little while. You get all the crazy hail, and then it's over. And you're kind of going, okay, well, I guess that was here and gone. So that'll be the trend throughout the remainder of the day here. So Rise Alma, you're going to get this next. You will have small hail moving through, very heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder. It's going to be really intense for just a few minutes. And then going on from there, Storm Prediction Center right now leaning towards not producing a severe thunderstorm watch at this point, but they will continue to monitor that. The good news is that the rest of today, really not much of a severe weather threat. Tomorrow, however, is a very different story. I'll have more on that as we get closer. I'm going to watch some models. I want to see what the trends are with this risk tomorrow. And tonight, we may have a live review kind of that. And we've been doing that. I think you guys have enjoyed that. Doing that from the desk makes it easier for me to go between models and severe weather risk and all that kind of stuff. So I may do that this evening, a more informal live stream to kind of talk about the risk tomorrow, talk about where to expect things, where's the greatest tornado risk going to be. I say greatest tornado risk, it's still a low-end risk at this point, and I think that, again, if we get more storms ahead of the severe weather risk, that will help kind of curb some of that, limit some of the instability in the atmosphere, and that ultimately could reduce the tornado risk overall, but it'll still be there. So we'll do a live stream probably about 9 o'clock tonight. That allows the 8 o'clock models to come in and to kind of get a better view of what to expect. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather. I'm going to wrap up live streaming here, allow myself to get a bite of lunch. I haven't eaten anything yet. Just as I was about to go eat something, this thing decided to pop off and go scare everybody. So I had to keep my phone from burning up with all the messages that were coming in. So we will definitely have kind of a more laid back and informative discussion tonight, live streaming from the storm desk, and then tomorrow, severe weather possible. Good news is though, today, just some off and on thunderstorms, might be some loud ones here and there, but a lot more bark than bite. Stay tuned to South Metro Weather. More updates are to come, but hey, we're going to let you go finish your lunch and get back to work for now. But we will have more updates, and hey, if another one of these storms decides that it's going to go put on an act and scare the bejesus out of everybody, we'll bring live